Hello there, Sir from 17 once again. This is my ReCore walkthrough. Look at the animations on Mac. There are so many beautiful touches in this game, but they're covered in piss, and I don't like piss, and that's why a lot of my criticisms for this game are going to be voiced in this walkthrough. This is Detour, Prisoners, and Is There Anybody Out There? Which is the same name as, isn't it, that new Machine Head song, which was fucking terrible. Ugh. I don't get Machine Head. They make amazing music, and then every so often they just go nuts. And it's like, what is this? Some kind of cheerleader anthem for teenagers? Get the fuck out. But this is not metal. This is indeed a video game. And we're moving, I believe this is the Cradle. And I really like this environment. I also really like how they put these breadcrumbs of the upgrade pieces in the world to give you an excuse to go there and pick things up. And I love the fact that they marry the platforming with the combat and the interesting affinity system, with your buddy commands, with the looting system, with the crafting system, with the chests, and the dungeon. I love all the systems that they have, but they never gel completely, and they never get it to the point where it feels as great as it could be. And I think that's worse. Because if I was sitting here right now and saying, you know, this game is just shit, this game is horrible, it controls like trash, it's uninspired, it's generic, it's boring, none of that is true. If I were to say that, I would be misrepresenting the title, but I wish I was saying that, because at least then, the validation for my enmity is fine. It's a bad game. But it's worse when there's a good game in there, they just never made it. And what they did make just insults what could have been made. And I don't know the production cycle for this game, and I wish I did, because it must have been fascinating. Metroid Prime series is revered and loved by a lot of people. Those folks know how to make this kind of game. Keiji Inafune's name is on the credits of some of the most inspirational games you could want to name. Think of anything decent Capcom's done in the last 20 years, his name's on it. Longer than that, like, this is the dude who was the character designer for Mega Man and worked on nearly every Mega Man game. He's the person you think of when you think Mega Man, which is one of the titles that is famous for platforming and action married together in challenging and interesting and fun gameplay. And that's coming from somebody who's not even a big Mega Man fan, as sacrilegious as that is, but like this, the pedigree that this team has once again proves that it's not made by one person or one team. You know, great games are a culmination of many things coming together, and it's not just, you know, accolades and achievements, it's a lot of everything else. And if these people can't make a great action-adventure platformer, who the fuck can? That's the thing that's strange to me, and it'll be really interesting to see what that Metal Gear Survive is like, because apparently the members of the Phantom Pain team are working on that new Metal Gear game that looks horrendous. And it makes me wonder, are they going to make a super great game and it's going to look like Kojima was the one holding, you know, Metal Gear back from true greatness? How amazing would that be if that Metal Gear Survive is the Metal Gear you always wanted, with the amount of gameplay you felt that it should have, and less in your face, here's 2 hours worth of cutscenes? That'd be so strange, because I love Metal Gear and I love the old approach, but if they came and just nailed it, that'd be insane, and it'd really make you question what they could have done before. But I don't think they will, because I'm a cynical bastard, and we just picked up the power cores, which is going to introduce you to this shoot the force field off the platform, and then you are timed until the platform's force field comes back. So you do not want to dilly-dally on this moment, you want to really get in there. And this is a great introduction to just how far you can get with Duel if you maximise your jump distance and your boost distance. You can hold the boost for a longer boost if you've not realised, and you might think it's crazy that I mentioned that, but I always go back to my Evil Within walkthrough. People didn't realise that you could, if you held the trigger on the bow, it pulled the string back further and you could fire the arrow further, so people accuse me of cheating. So never assume that people are going to know what you know, because the moment you do that, there's somebody who doesn't and he suffers. So, you know, you need to try and be as, you know, keep things as simple as possible. You know, one of my most popular videos is how to parry on Metal Gear Rising, which the game does a pretty piss poor job of telling you, but it's one of those things that you kind of figure it out just by necessity, because if you don't, the wolf just kills you, doesn't he? You know, he killed me at that press event I went to when I played it early, because The prompt made it feel like you had to push the analog in rather than flick it, which I think it's a failing of the UI more than anything, and I wish Platinum had got that right, because it's just, they could have shown someone's hands, and they could have shown them pushing forward and pressing block at the same time, or pressing attack, sorry, and I think that would have solved a lot of problems, but they didn't, unfortunately. That was weird as well. On my practice run for this game, when I dropped down after going up the top way, I could instantly kill him because I caught him by surprise. On the recording run, it didn't work, so it didn't enable me to do that. This is an interesting one too. Do you see this creature here? I don't know the names in this game because, as I mentioned, I put 10 hours into this game and I probably won't put any more into it until I'm rejuvenated from just how disappointed it made me. But this is a creature that they showed in a lot of the press releases, and you saw these 15-minute videos of people fighting these machines. And I was like, this must be a boss, like an enemy spawning boss kind of thing that lays down covering fire and fires missiles and stuff. It doesn't do anything. That is the stupidest enemy in this game. It flies around spawning popcorn enemies that don't do anything, and then it dies really quickly. Like, it's almost like it's a different game than what they showed in those press releases, because people were fighting those for 20 minutes. Did you see how fast I killed that? And I didn't even do it correctly. I don't have all the affinities. I was just shooting it. Doesn't make any sense. It's really strange. There's some wonderful geometry design here as well. Some great architecture in the rocks. Some nice focal points that make it memorable, even though it could have just been a sandy dune-esque planet with some rather crazy geology going on. But I think they did a good job of making the environment look great. If you look too deep, you can find some pretty ugly textures and some places where they just didn't texture. And if you jump too crazy, you can also find some areas where they didn't think you'd go, so you see that the modelling is not quite connected as well as it could be. And I know all about that from my 3D modelling, because the moment I realised the camera wasn't going to be there, I did not give a shit. You weren't going to see it, son, so it doesn't have to be clean. Why do I want to waste vertices and rendering time on an area that you don't see? It's pointless. I wasn't making video games, I was making a scene. But here is another one of the orbs that leads to an encounter. If you can get the instant smart bomb off, it will stun the two other people and you can proceed to kung fu them. And did you see what happened? The smart bomb damaged a full bar on their HP, and it immediately put them into a stun. So we had everybody stunned at once, and I wish there was a better way to control that, because I think if you could, the combat would be so much better for people who want to get better at it. There are times when you feel like the enemies just don't take the right damage, and then there are other times when you kill everybody without breaking a sweat, and you don't know what you did different. And you didn't do anything different, it's just the game happened differently. But here is kind of like a rolling pin armed spiky green dude. You'll notice my damage numbers weren't green, so I wasn't doing the right affinity, but I think I was doing an affinity that's damaging enough, so it didn't matter. We stun the guy in blue, we prop him up, and we start killing him. I recommend that you go for cores, personally, early on, so you can power up your buddies. The stronger your buddies are, the easier this game is, because the moment you stun an enemy, you can just spam lethal attacks and you can really mess them up. And by the end of the game, your buddies can be really powerful, as long as you continue to go back and pump stats into them, which is what I'm going to be doing. You're just not going to see it, guys. So after every so many few missions, if you fill up on orbs, go back to the crawler, level up your dudes, and then get back out there on the trail. But thank you for watching, and you take care now.